just get you an update from Nelson Mandela Bay, where firefighters have managed to bring a raging fire under control. Siphosethu Booi is standing by to give us the latest on that detail. Siphosethu, just place yourself for us and tell us what you're seeing and hearing.
Well, good morning to you again, Duduzile. Well, we spoke earlier on in the morning with Dr. Imtiaz Suleiman, the founder of Gift of the Givers, and he was talking to us about the fire that happened here in Fairview, making mention of the fact that he had been woken up by the firefighters at the early hours of this morning, around 3 a.m. in the morning, telling him and also alerting him about the fire that flared up again. I'm just going to ask my colleague, Dudu, as I move out of shot, to just give you a bit of a background as far as how far the fire had reached this area of Fairview and Fellington. It has been the same fire from the side of Sandridge, and it has moved up to the areas of Fairview as well. If you can see in the background, the firefighters are still trying to put down the smoke. There's a bit of smoke, and I spoke to, of course, one of the firefighters just to find out in terms of how far they have been at the scene in the early hours of this morning. He had mentioned the fact that they have been working in shifts, so different groups have been taking over from 7 a.m. on Thursday, Duduzile, until today. So they have been on shifts 7 a.m. in the morning and 7 p.m. at night, and then it shifts from a different team that will be doing the same round, moving from that 7 a.m. in the morning of this morning until 7 p.m. And also they had mentioned the fact that these different fires have been affecting different areas of Nelson Mandela Bay. But for now, roughly, they can't estimate which fire was the biggest. But currently for him, since he has been in the early shift of this morning in this particular area of Sandridge as well as, of course, Fairview, he says this fire by far almost made or did a lot of damage, because the houses in and around this area and also a mall that is not far from here, Duduzile. But to give us a bit of a detail in terms of how much strain this whole operation of these fires this whole week has had on the metro is, of course, media liaison spokesperson, of course, Mamela Ndamase. And she joins us now. Sis Mamela, thank you so much for your time this morning. Please just give us a bit of an update in terms of the different, of course, pressures and also challenges that the municipality was faced with during this whole week of fires in different areas here in Nelson Mandela Bay.
Thank you so much for the opportunity, Sethu, and good morning to your viewers. As you've already mentioned, the fires broke out in a number of areas. Initially, it was close to the N2 near the Baywest Mall. It spread in the Seaview, Beachview area. We had houses that caught fire in that area, but luckily our firefighters managed to control that fire. And then as the days progressed, that fire spread through, and that is where the Gift of the Givers assisted us immensely with the helicopters that were accessing the areas that we couldn't access deep inside the bushes. And then it just spread in other areas. As you mentioned, Fairview, it was very close to houses, people's properties were threatened, but luckily we all worked together. It was the municipality, it was the Gift of the Givers, the FarmCom community. We had neighborhood watch groups that dedicated their resources and joined in, and just ordinary citizens and other NGOs that took part in making sure that the damage is controlled and that we don't lose any lives and obviously property to these fires.
Thank you so much. That was, of course, Duduzile, of course, media liaison Mamela Ndamase of the Nelson Mandela Bay. And, of course, we also spoke just off air about the fact that different areas where firefighters were working at, of course, we know about 3 that were in Zwide who were robbed at the time. So we are now here in Fairview, and these fires are also being broken down and put down. And the situation for now does seem to be handled very well. We don't know what could happen in the new week, and we are hoping that the wind will also not contribute as far as making sure that these fires are well controlled.
Siphosethu Booi, thank you very much for that update.